Hi Stage 3. This video is going to introduce to you and explain what we're going to be studying in HIGE this term. We're going to continue our exploration on the Australian colonies. Last term, as you remember, we had a look at some of the reasons behind why the British came out to Australia in the first place to set up colonies. And we had a look at a few interesting and important people who were a part of setting up the colonies and who were also living in Australia at the time. And we had a close look at some of the things that happened early on in the colonies. This term we're going to continue our exploration of the colonies, and we're going to have a look at some of the things that happened through the 1800s in the early Australian colonies, and we're going to do that through some lessons with your teachers, some guided lessons with your class, and also through an inquiry project that you will be doing in a group, which I will talk about in a little bit. First of all, we're going to have a look at some of the things that we are going to understand through our learning experiences this term in this unit. So we're going to be able to understand what were some of the significant or important events that really shaped the early Australian colonies, particularly in the 1800s. We're going to be looking at who the significant or the important groups of people were who migrated, who came out to Australia, and the reasons why they came. We're going to think about and understand what kind of impact those significant groups of people had on Australia. How did they shape Australia or change Australia or make it into the place that we have today? We're also going to look at who are some significant or important people, so some individual people who did things in the Australian colonies in different areas, and what sort of impact they had on Australia as a whole. What contributions did they make to Australia, or how they changed Australia in some way? So as I said before, you're going to be doing some lessons with your class groups, your grade groups, and with your teachers to learn about some of these things, the events, the groups, and the people in the early colonies. But you are also going to be completing an inquiry project, and this is your assessment task for the term. You're going to be working in a group of 3 or 4 students to explore some of these questions back here on this slide, and we will be providing information about that as the term goes on to you. Choose your groups very carefully that you want to work in, and I'm sure your teacher will talk to you a little bit more about that before you start your project. We are going to provide you with some helpful resources, so websites, but also things like books and maps and photographs and all sorts of things that you'll be able to use in class to do your research. But you are also going to be able to do your own research on the internet and other places that you are able to locate information as well. So you can see here that we're not going to actually begin our inquiry project until week 4. That's the time when you will first start your research as a group, and that will be researching a significant event. We will give you lots of options to choose from, and you can just choose one significant event that your group wants to focus on for your research and your presentation. In week 6, you will be choosing and focusing on a significant group that you would like to research and talk about. And then in week 9, you'll be doing the same for the significant person that you have chosen. Your final task, so you're going to do a whole lot of research and learning and understanding about an event, a group, and a person. You are going to then create some sort of presentation to share with your peers. So it might be a website, you can create a website, or some sort of multimedia presentation that shows what you have learned in each of those 3 areas. In each of those sections, the event, the group, and the person that you have chosen, You need to also include a rich, reliable source that you have analysed for each of those things, and we will give you more information about that when we begin our inquiry project. And also you will need to keep a bibliography of all of the sources that you have used to be able to create your project. So the information that you've gathered, where it has come from. And Miss Chisholm is going to come to our HIGE lessons this term, and she's going to help us to understand and learn better how to keep a really good bibliography. So some of the ways that you might want to present your work, just to get you thinking, you might want to present something with a Google slide that your group creates together. You might want to create a website. There are some apps like Explain Everything and Present Me and things like that that you can use on an iPad. And then there are also other web applications as well, or any kind of video presentation. Something like this, for example, is something that you could do for your project as well. You'll have time to talk with your group about what kind of presentation you might like to do and how you might do that when you get together in your group. So you'll be given a bit of class time to do that as well. This just helps you to get thinking about what you might like to do. So I hope you enjoy your learning in HIGE this term.